Building a lighter and more peaceful life is closely connected to how you manage your money each day. Many people work hard, get paid, and still feel like they are not making progress. Others avoid looking at their finances because it brings up anxiety, guilt, or a feeling of disorder. And when money is ignored for too long, it often feels heavier than it really is. Organizing your finances does not need to be complicated. A few simple habits can bring more clarity, reduce stress, and help you feel more confident about where your money is going. Track your spending daily. The first habit is one of the most important because it helps you see where your money is actually going. Spend 2 minutes each day tracking your spending. You do not need complicated spreadsheets or expensive apps. Simply write down what you spent, where the money went, and why you decided to make the purchase. The last part is important because it provides you with patterns that tend to go unnoticed. You might begin to notice impulse buys, spending based on stress or emotion, or habits that cost you more than they're really worth to you. As those patterns become clearer, it becomes easier to understand your priorities and make spending decisions with greater intention. Save before you spend. One simple change can make saving money much easier. Many people spend first and try to save whatever is left at the end of the month, and in most cases, very little is left. Instead, set aside a small amount for yourself as soon as your income arrives. Even a small amount can make a difference when you save consistently. Once this becomes part of your routine, saving no longer depends on motivation or willpower. And with each month, you build a stronger sense of stability because you know you are consistently setting something aside for your future. The 48-hour rule. A simple way to reduce impulse spending is to create a waiting period before buying anything non-essential. Most impulses lose their intensity when there is a little space between the desire and the purchase. That pause gives you time to think more clearly and decide whether the item is something you genuinely want or just a passing impulse. Try to give yourself even more time for larger purchases. The more money involved, the more valuable it becomes to create some distance before making the decision. And with practice, this pause turns into one of the most useful financial habits you can develop. Another helpful practice is staying connected to your finances instead of avoiding them. Many people delay checking account balances, credit card statements, or upcoming bills because it creates discomfort. The problem is that uncertainty often creates more stress than the numbers themselves. Looking at your finances regularly helps remove that sense of uncertainty. You know what is coming in, what is going out, and whether anything needs attention before it becomes a larger problem. The more familiar you become with your financial situation, the less intimidating it feels. What once caused stress becomes part of a normal routine, making it easier to make decisions and stay on top of your finances. Use the rounding rule. Another simple strategy is to round your purchases up and move the difference into savings. If something costs $17, for example, save the $3 needed to reach $20. You can use the same approach when transferring money into savings by rounding up to the next comfortable number. These amounts may seem small, but that is exactly what makes the habit sustainable. Saving becomes part of your routine without feeling like a major sacrifice. Try the cash method. Many people have one spending category that consistently gets out of hand. If you tend to overspend on things like groceries, coffee, dining out, or delivery, using cash can create a stronger sense of awareness around your spending. Set a fixed amount at the beginning of the week and use only that cash. Once it is gone, you have reached your limit. Paying with cash creates a stronger awareness of how much money is leaving your hands. The spending feels more real, which naturally encourages more thoughtful decisions without relying on strict rules or complicated budgeting systems. Do one thing for future you. A useful weekly practice is to spend a few minutes doing something that benefits your future self financially. It does not need to be a major decision. The idea is simply to take care of one small task now instead of leaving it for a later version of yourself to deal with. It could be canceling an unused subscription, organizing financial paperwork, setting up an automatic payment, reviewing a recurring expense, or finally dealing with a financial task you've been avoiding for months. None of these tasks are particularly difficult, but they are easy to delay. And when small responsibilities are handled regularly, they are far less likely to turn into larger problems later on. Celebrate small financial wins. Many people notice every financial mistake they make, but rarely stop to notice their progress. Saving money, avoiding an impulse purchase, staying consistent for a few weeks, or finishing the month better organized are all signs that things are moving forward. And when those small improvements are recognized, it becomes easier to stay motivated and keep going. Financial goals often take time, and when all the attention stays focused on what is still missing, it becomes harder to stay motivated. Taking a moment to recognize small improvements makes the process feel more encouraging and helps build momentum for the next step. Another simple rule is the one in, one out method. Whenever something new comes into your home, something similar leaves. If you buy a new shirt, give away an old one. If a new pair of shoes comes in, pass an old pair on. This prevents the quiet buildup of stuff and keeps a more intentional living space. This habit increases awareness of what you already have. And when you know what you have, it becomes much easier to avoid unnecessary purchases. When every new item requires a conscious decision, consumption becomes more deliberate, and that often leads to spending less, owning less, and appreciating what is already there a little more. Stop saying you're broke. The way you talk about money matters more than most people realize. Many people use phrases like, "I'm broke," so often that they become automatic. The problem is that the phrase can mean many different things. Sometimes there is genuinely no money available, but often it simply means the money has already been committed to other priorities. Recognizing that difference changes the way you think about your finances. Instead of seeing every spending decision through a lens of scarcity, you begin to see the choices behind where your money goes. The question becomes less about what you are missing and more about how you are choosing to use what you have, and that creates a greater sense of ownership. Finally, make time to keep learning about money, even if it is only for a few minutes each week. Many people avoid the subject because it seems complicated, but most useful financial knowledge is far more practical than people expect. Reading a few pages of a book, listening to a podcast, watching a reliable video, or learning more about topics like investing, debt, or interest can gradually improve the quality of your financial decisions. The more you understand how money works, the easier it is to make confident decisions and face challenges without the overwhelm. None of these habits will change your financial situation overnight. They are powerful because they are simple enough to be repeated consistently without adding any more pressure to your life. Lasting financial stability often depends on many small decisions made repeatedly. It's the purchase you decide not to make, the few dollars you put aside, the bill you keep organized, the habit you build into your routine. None of these things may seem like much on their own, but when you do them repeatedly, They add up to something that matters. And over time, money just starts to feel less like a source of stress and more like something you know, control, and use with more confidence.